Welcome to Ride, Sail, and Repeat. My name's Kevin. Today we're going to talk about planning the perfect Disney World vacation. We're going to go through step by step. I'm going to go over the different topics that are going to get discussed. But understand that today's video is very much just a broad brushstrokes. I'm going to give you an introduction to the topics, and then from there we'll make individual videos. My idea is to break it down in such a way that you can get the information you're looking for in a short period of time without having to scroll through a video to find what it is you're looking for. Each topic will have its own video, and you just look down the playlist and find the video that you're looking for. So, first thing we're going to talk about, very first topic, is going to be making it affordable. One of the biggest problems that a lot of people run into with planning a Disney trip is the sticker shock. Disney vacations can get very expensive, but there are ways to make it more affordable. And this section, this topic, is going to break down what it costs. And I'm going to have real numbers in there. We were looking at a potential trip for ourselves for next year. So I've got a set of dates, and we're going to break down different costs based off of those dates, just to kind of give you a ballpark. Now, understand that the dates that I picked aren't necessarily the cheapest days of the year. They're not necessarily the most expensive days of the year. So prices will fluctuate depending on the time of the year. But we'll go into that more with the making it affordable section. The next thing we'll talk about is must-have items. There are certain things that when you go to Disney, it is imperative that you have. Comfortable clothes is probably a fairly obvious one, but shoes. You can destroy an entire trip in the first 6 hours just by having the wrong shoes on your feet, because once your feet hurt, you're not going to want to be in Disney World anymore. There's a lot of walking involved, a lot of standing involved. So we're gonna talk about shoes, and we'll probably do a whole video about shoes because that's how important I believe shoes are to your successful trip. Once we're finished with the must-have items, we're going to go into realistic planning. It's really tricky because Disney is a very, very large place. There are a lot of aspects to it, and you have to really think about what it is you're wanting to do. It's not like going to the beach where you just get there and you wing it. You're going to want to put in some effort into planning. But on the flip side of that, you don't want to be a planning Nazi, if you will. You don't want that stigma of, oh man, they're too strict. We can't do nothing we want to do because we've got to follow the agenda. You don't want to go that route. So we're going to talk about what should be in a plan, what shouldn't be in a plan, and how to make a plan work, right? And then the final section we're going to go over, or the final topic we're going to go over is it worth it? In this section, we're going to talk about a lot of the Disney add-ons. And this is where you can really make a trip get expensive. If you start doing the Genie Plus, the individual lightning lanes, things of that nature, it can add up very quickly. You can take a day's ticket and double the cost of it just with add-ons. And we're going to talk about what of those add-ons could be worth it, what of those add-ons can't be worth it. But something I want you to know before we get into those, and I'm going to try to remind you about this later on, is that all of the is it worth it portion, you can do a terrific trip to Disney without those add-ons. All right, so don't feel as though you have to do it. These are more of, you've got extra money in the budget. What should I spend the money on? And I'll give you the pros and cons of those add-ons so you can decide which ones you do want to spend the money on. And like I said, so these videos are going to be broken down. I am going to try to give them to you in the order in which you would need them, because one of the ways of really making a Disney trip affordable is booking early so you can pay on it month by month versus slapping it on a credit card and paying interest on the credit card, right? So we're going to talk about what it costs, and that's going to help you start deciding how much time you need to be there. And we're going to talk about the must-have items because these go into expenses. If you're spending $100 on a new pair of shoes, if you're going to buy this, you're going to buy that, How much is it going to cost? And you need to factor that into the price, and that may determine when you take the trip. You know, you may need an extra couple months to save up money to get some of this stuff. And then we'll go into the planning. By the time we get into the planning part, and don't get me wrong, there's going to be some cost details involved in the planning part too, that we may tweak a little bit. But the planning is something more that you can, so at this point you've decided we're going for 4 days. We're going to do 1 day in each part based on your budget. All right. This planning is going to let you start getting an idea of how we can make 4 days work. And then the is it worth it part, again, this is for lagniappe money. This is for, you know what, we were able to make all the money we needed. The trip's paid for, and lo and behold, we have a little extra money in our pocket right now. What should we spend it on? Is there something we want to add on to the trip with this money? So again, that's going to be one of the last things you're going to get into. But we're going to start from the top, work our way down so that you can kind of build. You don't have to watch every video in one day to figure out what you want to do. You get through the first part, get through the second part, and then if you want to start looking at dates and when and start planning the actual purchasing the pass while you're figuring out how to plan the day-by-day stuff, right? So that's the bulk of what the videos coming up will be. Go ahead and like and subscribe. That'll let you know when we post these other videos. If you know someone else that is planning a trip to Disney, share the videos. Share just the ones that you feel are relevant to the questions that y'all may have discussed. And one of the things I really like to point out to people is throw some comments in there. If I do the video on making it affordable and there is something that you're like, wait up a second, he didn't mention this, put it in the comments section. If I know the answer, I will answer it right then and there. And if I need to, I'll go in and make a brand new video just to address what it is that you're concerned with. So again, feel free to add comments. If you feel as though I'm inaccurate on something, obviously be nice about it, because nothing I'm doing is to try to steer anyone wrong. So if you see something that you feel as though, that ain't quite how it works now, leave a nice comment in the bottom. Say, hey, look, I think you misworded this, and maybe I did. And again, if I've got to go in and redo a video because I made a mistake or I left something out, I have no problem doing that. My goal with these videos is 100% to help you out in planning your next trip. I remember how overwhelming my first trip to Disney was. And every new vacation, when we did our first Royal Caribbean cruise, when we did our first Princess cruise, learning from scratch of how to navigate the website, there's so many different things that it's an overwhelming process. And I know how much content creators helped me along the way. So my goal is just to add to that, giving new content, giving new information, adding on to information. So maybe this one had some information, this one doesn't cover this part, so I'm going to add on that part for you, right? So that's what we're doing in a nutshell. Look forward to seeing you in our future videos, and we'll see you next time.